People say, no one ever came back to tell you what it's like on the other side. That's not true. Now, let me just share with you a story, a true story, about what people sometimes can experience in their dreams. This is a story that happened with a member of my family. My brother had his best friend killed in a car crash. My sister-in-law was injured in that crash, and she was in a coma for 7 weeks. And miraculously, she survived. But the driver of that car was killed on the spot and was my brother's best friend. And I don't remember the details, if it was, I think, a year later, that my brother had a dream. And my brother told me that in all his life, he never had a dream as vivid as that. It was so real, more than any other dream he ever had, where his best friend came to him with a message. And he woke up and he had remembered that message. Then he discovered that the brother-in-law of his best friend had the same dream, that his brother-in-law, the deceased, came to him in the dream with the same message. With one addendum, he asked him in his dream, why don't you tell this message to your wife? So he said in the dream, I tried, but she was too frightened to look at me. The next day, he spoke to the wife, the widow, and she said, yes, my husband came to me in my dream last night, and I was too frightened to look. So 3 people had the same dream of the person who was no longer physically here and communicated with him. So sometimes dreams, you don't have to be a prophet. There is a connection between the other world and our world. And sometimes that connection manifests itself through a dream. People say, no one ever came back to tell you what it's like on the other side. That's not true. There are many stories recorded in Jewish history, in Jewish texts about that, and we have that story just happening, the one I just mentioned. And I've heard similar stories from other people.